Okay, so I know it's been a little bit of a hot second since 2025, and it is currently February of 2026. But I don't care because, why read books in a year if you can't tier rank them the next year? Why? That's a joke. I legally have to say that that's a joke. Now we're going to talk about what the tiers are, what we're dealing with today. At the top, fall in love again and again. The TikTok sound, it's like, fall in love again and again, fall in love again. I actually don't know what song that is. I should look into what song that is. Yes, that is top. It's just like falling in love again and again with a story, and basically it was really good. Second tier, hashtag no regrets. Basically, this was good. No regrets reading it. It did its job, and it was good, and that's that. The next one is all vibes. That's how we like it. Basically, something that was like not anything crazy, nothing that great, but it was vibes, and you know what? We like vibes. So the next one is simply blank pages, where it's kind of like, this was kind of maybe the equivalent to like reading blank pages, in the sense that it wasn't, well, I don't know if I want to say it was good or bad, but it just like did not leave an impression. It was just nothing. It was blank, and that's it. And the last one is Kayla's alter ego. So basically somebody else, not me, possessed myself and read this book, and I don't know who it was or why someone decided to read this. It wasn't me, it was an alter ego. So yeah, that's all there is to it. Really, that's all there is to it, really. So let's just get right to it. We have, starting out, Fourth Wing. This was kind of controversial, actually. I hate to say I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was very fun, and rather than it being good or super well written, it was immersive. Like, I was having a good time, and the whole dragons being bonded thing was very silly, but I kind of ate it up because at that time I was like, I don't need logic, I need vibes, and it was fun. What can I say? It's really, I don't know where it is between vibes, no regrets, and fall in love again and again. Maybe, honestly, even though it's 5 stars, I don't know if it's fall in love again and again, but I'm gonna put in no regrets. Definitely do not regret reading it. This one is Tokyo Ueno Station. I just really randomly borrowed this from the library and read it, and it was a short story. Not like a short story, but like it was a short, I don't even know if it was technically a novel, but it wasn't that long, but it was very, very sad. And I think it was about this man who lived in Tokyo, and basically he's from like a smaller village, and he had to move to Tokyo for like work because there were better job opportunities, and lived his whole life working there and just sending money back to his family in this smaller village, and basically barely spent time and barely even knew his wife and the kids he had because he was never there with the kids, and things happened. I don't remember exactly, but like I was just like, wow, this is really sad. It was like so sad to the point that, well, I just felt like, feeling grateful about my life because, wow. So I really don't know what to think about this. I might move it around, but for now, no regrets. Because I do not feel comfortable putting this very sad book in all vibes. So that's where we'll put it. Okay, the next one is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng, I think. At the time, I gave this 4 stars, but it's honestly the book out of this whole list that I think about sometimes. It was about a biracial family. I think the dad was Asian and the mom was white, but it was, you know, set more back in the day, and they dealt with a lot of generational trauma, or more just like the generation above, you know, the parents hurting their kids, and that happening again with the parents in the story hurting their kids. And it was a very, very character driven story. So I feel like with those, at first it might not feel as impactful because the plot, like, there wasn't that much plot. It was a lot of flashbacks about character backstories about, and then it would go to another character. But when I think back on it very fondly. I think this was another book where it was like, after I read it, I was just like, wow, that was really sad. And sometimes I don't really know how to process and think about when books are just like really sad, and I'm like, what do I really think about this besides the fact that it was sad? But I feel like the biggest thing that stood out to me about this book was the mom and instances of them regretting, or the mom regretting some things because she was kind of the type of person who really wanted to go places with academics and her career, and it kind of stopped after being a mother. And maybe I shouldn't get into it because spoilers, but, well, I don't know if it's really spoilers because it's a character-driven book. But anyways, there's like this scene where the mom comes back and her son asks her that he wants hard-boiled eggs, and she was just basically could not hard boil an egg anymore. And that was like a very, like, if you did not read this book, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but that hard boiled egg quote and scene lives rent-free in my head. And I honestly think this is a 5-star book based on the impact it had on me. So this will be my fall in love again and again story. The next one is How You Lose the Time War. I know some people love this book. I'm not one of them. I did not understand, and I'm just like, am I the person in the wrong here? I just didn't know why they were in love, because it was written in an interesting way. It was really pretty, the prose was nice, but it felt like all style, no substance, you know? Anyways, I hope this doesn't find you. This is by Anne Ling, and I really like her books and her rom-coms, and this one especially, I felt like it really did academic rivals right. Like, I really did feel like they were academic rivals and not just like they were saying they were. And I also felt like the main character was honestly, she was a lot, but I could relate to her and her ambition and her desire to have that academic validation. So fall in love again and again. Worst case scenario, this book was good. It was definitely interesting. I think I listened to this in an audiobook, so I honestly probably missed some things, but it was very enjoyable. It was fast-paced. If I had to explain the plot to you, not quite sure, but it was something about a plane crashing and there being like a potential nuclear disaster and a town dealing with that and saving the world. So I'm gonna put in all vibes because it was vibes, it was fun, don't remember too much. And then The Maniac, oh my god. I finished this book at the very beginning of last year and I'd been reading it since the year before. So the problem with reading a book for like a very long time is sometimes, especially because I read it kind of on and off, it wasn't like a very like linear reading experience, and so it's either simply blank pages or all vibes. I'm gonna put in all vibes because I did like the writing, I did like the very beginning or the first half, and I just felt like the second half was a little bit less interesting because they were talking about AlphaGo, I believe, and I watched the documentary, so I was just like, okay, you're telling me what I already know, but like that was just happened to be something I already knew about. And then Dazzling Heights, this is Kayla's alter ego, because what possessed me to read this book? This is the second book of a series, and it's just unhinged. I don't even know if I can explain what this is, but it's just like cheap drama. It's like cheap entertainment, and you know what? It did make me interested. It did kind of get me out of a reading slump, but was it good? No. But, you know, yeah. And then what you are looking for is in the library. Fall in Love Again and Again. This book, I highlighted so many quotes from it, and I loved it. I don't even know what to say, but I definitely recommend when you're feeling kind of like, I don't even know how to explain the feeling that you need to read this, but when you want to be inspired about life again, if you're really looking for something, you should go to the library and get this book. Love in Other Words. I remember, I forget who, but I think there was someone on YouTube who really liked this book. And I felt like people liked this book, so I, read it. I think the ending just kind of ruined it for me, like the reveal. And the reveal was rather believable. I appreciated the surprise, but also me understanding, but also I just don't remember really liking this all too much. It's either alter ego or simply blank pages. I think I did like the first half. I just remember after finishing it being like, oh, okay. I'll put in simply blank pages for now. Before the Coffee Gets Cold, this book, it was like everywhere. And I read it, and honestly, I think I kind of get this mixed up with What You're Looking For Is in the Library, because they're both like, I'm pretty sure, Japanese literature, and they have cats on the cover because a lot of Japanese books have cats on the cover for some reason. I'm not hating it, just interesting. And it was just so much less memorable than What You're Looking For Is in the Library, and I think because I read them kind of close together, they kind of mush, but I remember the What You're Looking For Is in the Library parts and not this. So I'm gonna put in simply blank pages because I thought it was alright, but I would definitely recommend What You're Looking For in the Library above this. The favorites. Wow, there are more books that I like than I thought, but this is going in Fall in Love Again and Again. It was written in a way that really will make you feel emotional and really make you care about the characters, I guess. And I know people say the ending is silly. It is a little silly, but the drama and the buildup was enough for me to be sad for the silliness. Like, I agree it was silly, but it wasn't enough to deter from how much I loved the drama and the characters and the relationships and the buildup, and just how like my insides, and I felt it in my gut after I finished the book, and I was like, wow. And I remember listening to like the Taylor Swift song, I forget what it was, after, and being just imagining the two main characters like ice skating and dancing to that song, and it made me emotional after. And that's when you know something's good, when you feel something about it. These Violent Delights is going in simply blank pages. It was okay. it wasn't that memorable. The Perfect Couple, I'm gonna put in all vibes or no regrets. This one I'm very not certain what I want to do with it. I'll put in no regrets. I do remember liking it. I felt like the ending was okay, but there were a lot of secrets and stuff going on between characters that made it very engaging while reading it. So I did remember enjoying it quite a bit. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, also no regrets. I gave it 4 stars. I definitely did enjoy it, but it's not really something I think about after. The plot, quote-unquote, twist was very interesting, but again, like, it just didn't really have a big impact on me, but I do understand why everyone likes it. The Breakup Pact, I think I gave this 4 stars. Surprisingly, I did like it, but it might be an all vibes. All vibes. It was a cute rom-com. It was cute in the moment. I read it during the summer. 0 stars, do not recommend. I definitely thought it was interesting. I appreciated what they did with it. This might be a spoiler to even say, but there is kind of like a little plot point that happens that took me by surprise, but I'm just not the type to kind of guess plot points, so maybe other people would have saw it coming, but I was like, oh, I appreciate what you did there. Like, I appreciate it. So maybe in no regrets. I also liked it because it felt like an underrated book. Like, I haven't seen anyone else read this. Girl Abroad, Alter Ego. Yeah, I don't remember why I read this. The cover looked cute. I liked the idea of a coming of age abroad. I really liked that idea. But it felt like a weird... how do I even say this? The writing and the characters felt YA, but then suddenly she would talk about how attracted she was to the main character, and I swear, after all this time, we didn't know very much about the guy, main character, and there was a love triangle that came out of nowhere, and I genuinely was like, what is going on? This is, I guess because she was abroad, she needed that love triangle, but was very much not a fan. Very much not a fan. It's a love story. I really liked the beginning of this, but really didn't like the end. I felt like what they did with the characters at the end was not... I don't remember if I thought it wasn't interesting or if I just was like, this is unrealistic. Oh, I remember. The kind of third act conflict was just very silly, but I'll put it in all vibes. Flowers for Algernon is going in no regrets. Definitely good. Another one of the books that was sad and really did make me think about what do you do when it really feels like there's nothing in the world for you, but also to just make what you can out of your life. So yeah, I really liked it. I just wasn't like a favorite where it's fall in love again and again level. The Housemaid, I know that the movie came out and I've been seeing a lot of videos on it. I'm not sure if I'll watch it, but I did enjoy the book a lot. I do think it's in the all vibes category just because it was really interesting, quick read. I read it in one sitting, but I do think it was just all vibes, and that's okay. That's, how we like it. Legendary, I think I'll put it... It is very vibey though, so should I put in all vibes or simply blank pages? I'll put in simply blank pages because, first of all, it had been a long time since I read Caraval, which is the first book of the trilogy, and this is the sequel, and it was interesting, but I really didn't care that much about what was happening, so. And Our Violent Ends will also be going straight into Simply Blank Pages. It was alright. I remember even less than Our Violent Delights. Clearly I liked Our Violent Delights enough to read the sequel, but I don't really know why I did that, to be honest. I think I just wanted to finish a series or duology or something. I enjoyed it, but it was like both were okay. I Am Not Jessica Chen. I think it's my alter ego. It's not really my alter ego because I know I read this because the cover is so pretty and because I really like the author, but this story just felt really underdeveloped to me, and it could just be because it's YA, but also I'm pretty sure other stories are also YA, and this just felt especially underdeveloped. I think I also had high expectations because it was a lot about like academic validation, like a difficult, like the pressure of being in high school, the jealousy, and I felt like I could potentially relate. But they just really, everything was just so archetyped, stereotypes, like oh, she's so much better than me. And you know, I get it. I get the message, but it just felt too YA, too middle grade. And also the like love interest wasn't even making me feel anything about it because okay, maybe I shouldn't say what happens, but he's just I don't know, the dynamic between the two and why there was some quote-unquote tension was a very silly reason. And I get that people are silly as high schoolers or middle schoolers or whatever their issue started with, but he went from that to being like, I love you so much. And it was just, okay, calm down. You're being a little too perfect, a little too into her, if that makes sense. Paradise Problem. I gave this 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, but is it at the level of Fall in Love Again and Again? I don't know. I feel like that should be a little bit more exclusive, so I'm gonna put in no regrets, but I really enjoyed it. I thought the plot was very interesting. Like, I was invested, and I felt like the conflicts were reasonable and the chemistry was good. Yeah. Red Rising, also no regrets. I really liked the first book and I was invested. I read it in maybe 2 sittings, 2 or 3. I think it just wasn't one of my favorites. It was definitely fun, but it was just like, okay, yeah. And the whole era where they're doing their little Hunger Games-esque survival thing was kind of very long, which is fine. I just didn't expect it to be that long, considering a little less than the first half was like about something else. And I didn't realize their whole time at school would be this one very long games, but that's besides the point. The flat share, I really liked the flat share. I remember I really like reading British author rom-coms. I really like British humor, and sometimes I'm like, maybe I should move to London because the British authors are doing something right. I think this is also a no regrets. I really did enjoy it, but again, maybe it's not reaching the favorites level, but I thought the female character was very, I don't want to say eccentric, but full of life, and I really liked it. And the guy was very avoidant, shy, almost to the point of being too avoidant. But I know, you know, obviously some people are like that, but I did relate. He was avoidance final boss, but just like me, for real. And then I read Iron Flame. This was silly. It was quite a silly time. So I'm gonna put it in all vibes because that's what it was. It was just vibes. All in. This was Simply Blank Pages. I enjoyed it, but I think all the books in the series are just interesting, a pretty good time, and then I kind of forget what we were doing here. Blue Lily Lily Blue. I love, is it Maggie Stiefvater's writing? It's so good, and the first 2 books of the series were so good and made me feel something, but I do think I remember not liking this 3rd book as much as I did the first 2, and I think a lot of it is just because of where we are in the story, where we just, the gang isn't quite looking for magic anymore because it's found, and it's more like we're discovering the magic, and it just felt less immersive, and I felt less invested than I was before. And I also think the character dynamics were explored a little bit less because they've kind of been established. So I'm gonna put in all vibes. Yeah. Lady Midnight, Simply Blank Pages. I don't know why I didn't care for the main characters that much in this trilogy so far, and it didn't really, like, the ending didn't really make me intrigued enough to even want to continue the trilogy. I think I will, but the motivation wasn't there as much as it was for other series. Queen of Shadows. I give all of the Throne of Glass books in the series 3 stars because they're always like okay, and I don't really have a very strong opinion on them one way or the other. They're just kind of interesting. So either Simply Blank Pages or all vibes. I'm gonna put in all vibes for now because I do remember the ending at least, and it did make me want to finish out the series. Golden Sun, I'm gonna put in all vibes as well. I liked it a bit less than Red Rising, but I did appreciate where we were going with it, and yeah. Anxious People, I didn't like this that much, sadly. I think I read it at a time where I was not in the mood for the kind of writing that Frederick Bachman used, but I did appreciate the unexpected twists. Again, quote-unquote twists. I did appreciate that and appreciated the message. The characters were a little too eccentric for me, and I think it was just kind of where my mindset was at when I was reading it, and I just don't think I read it at a good time of the year. I can't help that though, and it did make me not enjoy it that much because of the style of writing and the characters. Simply Blank Pages. Arsenic and Adobo. This was really cute. I liked it. It's a cozy mystery. I liked the Filipino elements, and I felt like I could relate to a lot of what they were talking about. I do think the mystery element was weak, and I know that it is weak in a lot of cozy mysteries, but I felt like this was really weak because Lila is the main character, and she would go around to the restaurants, I think, and would investigate, but it kind of annoyed me because her investigation was getting her nowhere. Anyways, all that to say, this is still gonna go in no regrets because it did introduce me to the series, and spoiler alert, I read the 2nd book this year and really liked it. So I have to say no regrets. And then Empire of Storms. Oh my god, when I was talking about Queen of Shadows, I was thinking about Empire of Storms actually. Oh, wait, I just remembered what happened in Queen of Shadows. I think I'll also put this in all vibes because I think I liked Queen of Shadows a little more, but not, they were both vibes, so yeah. And that's it. As we can see, this is following like kind of a normal distribution, which really checks out. You have a lot of books in the middle and a few books in your favorites and the ones you don't like. And that was what my 2025 looked like. So I'm so glad I have this to remember everything I thought about all of these stories. And it's like really interesting to look back on what was going on last year and be like, wow, it felt like I read this so long ago. But this also makes me excited to continue reading this year, because I also am trying to hone in my book taste a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. See you. Bye.